It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
Welcome to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome in to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 169 today. Glad that you are with us. You know all of the amenities we have, and guess what? Starting today, we are going to have a guest grill master on every show. And as I'm looking out the window down toward the patio where the pool is and the grill is, Mitch London. This dude cooks in the nude, former president of AANR, current secretary-treasurer of AANR, is down there firing up the grill. You know about the pool and the hot tub and the bocce ball and the cold drinks, hot drinks, fruits and vegetables. You know all of that, and I'm only giving it short shrift today because we have a lot going on in today's show. We have to get to the content right away. As you hear, Lisa Monroe is coming in right now, and then we'll get to part one of my interview with Linda WEBER. I told you we had two surprises for you today. Linda WEBER being the guest is number one, and just wait until you hear what she has to say today. I don't know about you, but I hear some music that can only mean one thing. It's time for the great, the terrific, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Here she is, the one and only, the one of a kind, the completely clothes-free and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
I am doing very well. And if you'll notice, I came in very quietly and sat down. I didn't, of course, you weren't looking, but anyway, I was trying to be good. Not easy for me.
Were you successful in trying to be good, or did you fail again?
Well, apparently I didn't distract you, so either I was a failure or I was trying not to. I'm not sure which.
Or I was completely not paying attention to you, which was the case.
Because I know that's probably the norm. So what can I tell you?
No, just at the intro, because I know your bag of tricks. At least you probably have more in your bag, but I know the ones you revealed so far, and so I have to avoid those to get through the opening. So how's that?
Okay. No, yeah, there may be a few more coming down the road. You never know. But anyway.
Right. We are having one whale of a week, and things are going to get really exciting a little bit today. You know, Linda WEBER's coming on today. That will be quite exciting with some things she has to say. And then on Wednesday, stand by for news, as Paul Harvey used to say.
Yes.
Oh, it's going to get big and exciting around here. That's right. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. But we're on 169 today, so let's get to it. Everybody knows we have a Patreon page. You gave up really good paid work to do this show for free, and that's serious, by the way. And we asked you for some support to help us with the details of running the show. There are expenses involved. You stepped right up. And Lisa Monroe, on every single episode, we try to highlight two people who have recently joined, or in this case, one of our people upgraded. Who do we have today on Patreon?
Well, today we have Arid, who upgraded to the patron level, which is our highest level. And wow, that's just an amazing thing for Arid to do. And we really appreciate it. And, you know, it just makes us feel good that people feel that kind of loyalty and interest in the show, that they want to help us. And it's just fabulous. So we really appreciate it. But that's not to say that M. Hartley also joined. And I don't even care what level M. Hartley is at. That's wonderful. So we're happy to have him at whatever he or she, or at whatever level they're at.
Yeah. So thank you, Arid, for your upgrade to the highest level we have around here. And thank you to M. Hartley as well. We appreciate both of you. And we appreciate all of our Patreon peeps, our PPPs, paying Patreon peeps. Anything, you're going to say something else? I'm sorry.
I was going to say something. We have had a explosion of new people in the last couple of weeks. And it's just been mind boggling in a lot of ways because all of a sudden, you get the little notifications and boom, boom, boom. There's like three or four in a row. And I'm like, well, this is fabulous. So thank you for appreciating whatever it is we do because we're here to, give you what you want from the show. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, going very well. We haven't discussed numbers in a while. Maybe we will next week, just for kick, just for our own benefit. We'll throw some stuff out there, and we're going to have a little bit of fun next week.
Yes.
Does that sound good to you? Is that okay?
Sounds fine to me.
All right. So thank you to all of our PPPs. Lisa Monroe, we have a couple of letters we want to get to, both fairly lengthy, but we do want to talk about merchandise for a moment. Anything moving and grooving on that front?
Well, we're still getting it orders, so that's wonderful, and we thank you. And also, I am probably today or tomorrow dropping a new line of merchandise, just a few items for those days when you can't be a naturist. So we'll leave it at that, and you'll see them soon.
All right. And that works for anybody all over the world because
Yes,
it'll be cold at some point, whether it is
exactly.
today or not. As we experienced recently, yeah, it gets cold in Florida too. So wherever you
Ooh,
are, we'll take care of you, right?
exactly. I mean, and our friends down under and in the southern hemisphere are going to be going into their winter very soon. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to take care of them as well.
That's right. Time to stock up. See, for me, for my entire life, July has been a hot month. August has been a hot month.
Yes,
Australia and New Zealand, that's the middle of winter. So
I
we
know.
always have to keep that in mind.
Very much so.
All right. We have a letter from Mike today. I like his opening. Hi, Frank and Lisa. And we could just stop right there and give him my favorite listener of the day award with his opening. Hi, Frank and Lisa. But in parentheses, he did say, at the risk of not offending Lisa. You're not offended, are you?
Of course, I'm not offended. It's Frank that has the issue, everybody.
No,
So I'm
no, no,
sorry.
no. Just playing around. Let's not start more rumors, Lisa Monroe.
But it kind of goes back to that. At least you've heard of me line that I
That's
love from
right.
that Johnny Depp meme. At least you write to us, and however you want to call us is fine.
That's right. Just don't call us late for dinner or coffee.
Coffee, especially.
Exactly, especially. All right, I'll take the first couple of paragraphs here. I just
Okay.
wanted to drop a note to let you know that I enjoy your podcast very much. I found your show about a year ago and recognized the production professionalism right away. I got to stop for a minute. I swear I did not write this. This really
No,
is from listener Mike.
no.
I appreciate the time, effort, and dedication that you and Lisa put into the show. Yeah, we could stop right there and just have a moment of silence because that kind of stuff always gets to us. We work our
Yes.
ever loving backsides off here, not only creating the content, doing the content, the recording, the editing, the production. As he says, production professionalism. We take that very seriously, and that's why we've been coming to you every Saturday without any flaws or bad shows. Everything we put out there is professionally done, and there are reasons for that. So that makes us feel pretty good. But let's move on. Like many of
Absolutely.
your listeners, I'm in the 27 age range, give or take a few. So,
I love it. 27's a great year.
although I got to tell you something in a minute. Let me just tell you now. Interviewing Dan Hawkins, he's the president of AANR Southwest, and
Yes.
his interview is coming up a bit down the road. But he said, "Why did you choose 27? Because that's the age where a lot of famous actors and musicians passed away."
Oh,
And he's right. I've heard that before. So maybe I was going to go with 26, but then 27 is still coming. So maybe I should switch to 28. What do you think?
I think maybe we should, maybe mature a little bit and get to the
Yeah,
28 level. That might be a
yeah,
good idea.
yeah. We'll think about that.
Yes.
So anyway, my nudist journey began by sleeping nude off and on several years ago. I'm a relatively new nudist. I've been a home nudist for only about a year now, and your show has helped me realize the normalcy of nudism. Ugh, Lisa, that gets
Yes.
to me every time. I know you think
Yes.
the same way.
Yes, because
That's
that's
we
what we want.
Yeah, we hear that over and over again. I want to be naked all the time. Boy, is this weird if I get caught. And then they hear us, several shows, several episodes, and they realize, oh, so this is normal. And then they relax, they're comfortable, the clothes come off, and they stay off. And so we appreciate that. Topics that you have covered have also helped me gain the body positive confidence I needed. I guess I've always been intrigued by the idea of naturism, but was afraid to take the plunge. My wife's not, but now tolerates my being a nudist. Okay, so there's some movement on that front. And why don't you
Yes.
take it from there?
I've always thought it would be fun to be outdoors nude, perhaps naked hiking, but I never had the opportunity. Last year on Hike Naked Day, I had to work, but had decided I was going to hike naked. The next chance I had, I decided I was going to experience the outdoors in the nude, naked. I went to some wooded country property I have and took the clothes off for a walk. It was amazing. The feel of the sun and breeze on my body was so much more than I imagined it would be. I'm just sorry I didn't start this years ago. After that, I began tanning nude in my yard, which is pretty secluded. I caught up on your podcast while laying out. In fact, it worked out pretty well. Since half your show is conversation with Lisa and half is interview with a guest, I never got burned. There is a reason for that. I love that. Guest is on flip
Oh,
over.
that's great.
I
That
love that.
see, that using our show for all the right
Yes,
reasons. I like that too.
that's fabulous. And I think well advised because that's enough time in the sun. You have some really good guests on your show. Before I found your podcast, I'd listened to a couple of books by Will Forrest and Laura Delarado. I was pleased to hear their interviews on your show. This has also led me to seek other books by naturist authors you have interviewed. In addition to the authors you have featured, I enjoyed the thoughts and insights from other guests. I am a Christian, and it was nice to learn of other Christians' journeys in the nudist community. While I hate to admit it, like some guests you have featured, before becoming a nudist, I had issues with pornography. Now that has all gone away, and I am a much better and happier person.
Oh, yes. Well, a couple of things. And he mentioned Will Forrest. He had
Mhm.
heard books by him, I guess, Audible, books on tape, I wanted to say,
Right.
but we don't have tape
Yeah.
anymore. Terrific author, has been on the show several times, including very early on. And I
Mhm.
remember when I interviewed Will Forrest, as soon as we were done, he and his wife were headed off to the nudist club. So it
Mhm.
was a great Saturday for them. And the lady he mentioned, Laura Delaroto, I don't know her. We have not had her on the show,
No.
but we'll look into it. I don't know her. I'm guessing she's a naturism
Mhm.
author.
And if so, we'd love to have her.
Yeah, but he also mentioned he's had issues with pornography, and naturism has fixed all of that. And we are not psychologists here. We don't pretend to be. But what I've heard and read and understood from those who do know about
Mhm.
this is when you sexualize something, you're going to crave more and more of it. And it gets deeper and heavier and worse and worse. It's kind of like a drug. You start taking maybe a cigarette, and then before you know it, you got to have 10 cigarettes, and then it just evolves into, whatever, marijuana, cocaine, whatever you try to get your fix on. It never goes away. It just gets worse and worse. Pornography is the same. Well, when you just treat the body as God's gift to you and to humanity and not sexualize it, well, son of a gun, it just goes away. Like he said,
Yep.
it goes away. And that's exactly as he said, I'm a much better and happier person. So hats off and clothes off to Mike. And finish up your last paragraph. Let me close by saying, in the past year, I've joined AANR. This is primarily to get the magazine to learn more about naturism and keep up with the news. I've enjoyed the magazine very much. It's also been informative to hear just what all that organization does for the nudist community. Again, thank you for all that you and Lisa do. Please keep up the good work, Mike. And P.S. I did buy a shirt to support the cause a little. Well, good.
And he did, I remember.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
Any thoughts on that letter? A lot of content there. The professionalism of our show, we appreciate that very much. Getting rid of pornography, discovering, by golly, naturism is normal. Even Frank and Lisa say it every single week. Any thoughts on top of that?
Well, I just think it's wonderful to see again the progression of someone who has an interest in being a naturist, who loves being naked, because after all, that's what this is. We enjoy being naked, and we enjoy the parameters that naturism gives us, and that's the non-sexual portion of it, and the communing with nature, or whatever you want to add to it. But the fact is that we like being naked in our environments, whether it's inside in a toasty room or it's outside in the sun and the breeze. So I think this is wonderful. And also to see his progression to, understanding the importance of AANR and joining and now seeing that. And we're just very, very appreciative to AANR for the support they give us in allowing people to find us sometimes through them as opposed to them to people that listen to us finding AANR. So it's a great situation.
Yeah. And, several people have told us, written to us, they've joined AANR because of our show. They'd never heard of AANR
Very
before.
much so.
And I'm sure people have never heard of us before until we signed up with AANR. So it's a two-way street. It's benefited both groups tremendously. And we won't throw the numbers out on that because it's private business. But we appreciate very much anybody who joins AANR after listening to our show. We do appreciate that. Before we go on to our next letter, I have a quick story for you, Lisa. I've not shared with you before.
Okay.
Another Dear Abby story. Remember, I had Dear Abby or Ann Landers and whatever that was all about?
Yes.
About the guy taking his shirt off, putting his groceries in the car.
Right. I remember.
Well, this one, she and her husband have a son, and they moved into a neighborhood, and there's a fence dividing their backyard with their next door neighbor's backyard. Well, the son, I got the impression he was a teenager, let's say 12 to 17 or so. He peeked through the fence and he saw the teenage girl next door lying in the sun, totally naked. And the mother was appalled and told her husband, hey, honey, you got to get over there and tell these people. Because I guess later he saw them, the rest of the family nude as well. You got to get over there and tell them to get their clothes on. And he said, no, I'm thinking we got to tell our son to quit peeking through fences. It's inappropriate. Yes. And she said, well, what if they call the police on us? He said, if our son gets caught peeping through that fence, they might be calling the police on us and we're the ones in trouble. Well, hallelujah. How about that for some wisdom?
It's a tremendous amount of wisdom because that's actually what the situation should be. Unfortunately, most things are interrupted, by one opinion, and that one opinion seems to hold more weight. And the fact is that we need to take responsibility ourselves. And if there's something we do not like, then we walk away from it. If it's something life or death, then that's a different story. But this is a good lesson that father had. Teach your son not to peek.
And that Dear Abby did agree with the husband. She said, your husband has a point. Tell your son to keep away from the blasted fence. All right, so let's move on now. We have an email. Oh, baby. We have, I saw this pop up. We have an email from Richard, but not that Richard, the one we played the jazz music for. Hello, Lisa and Frank. Well, we got a problem here, Richard. But then he said, yes, ladies first, Frank. Well, okay, I'll let that go. That's fine. But he did say aha or haha. 53-year-old male here from the very cold state of Illinois, first time writing, but long time listener to the very fantastic podcast. Just wanted to say thank you to Frank and Lisa and Frank for producing my favorite podcast. Well, thank you, Richard. Me and my wife are very new to naturism, with me being the one who is feeling it in my heart and soul. My wife has some catching up to do, and that's okay. We are impatiently waiting for summer to come so we can make 2026 our nakedest year yet, with some backyard barbecue and our first social nude camp at our closest club in Indiana. And take it from there, next two paragraphs.
Like you've heard before, I'm new to this and so upset that I haven't discovered this years ago. I guess it just wasn't a thing and therefore wasn't thought about. Life seemed to be so busy and so many changes being thrown at me so fast, such as career changes and the housing crash, etc. I finally landed my last job and career at UPS driving semis here in Chicago, which saved me from my last failing career as an auto technician. I started back into health and fitness a few years ago, along with some summer tanning in the sun and fake baking at the local gym and tanning booth. The heat and light just felt great. Losing some weight just felt great. Being nude in the tanning beds felt awesome with the heat and light all over my body. Yeah. I get done with the tanning session and find myself not wanting to get dressed again. LOL. I agree. Well, I had to in order to leave the tanning room, but as soon as I got home, it was on. Clothes were coming back off. Since then, I can't stand wearing clothes anymore. I feel so liberated and free. My mood is always better, and I just feel more motivated to do things when I'm naked. I can't believe how much of this has changed my life. It also made things a little more complicated because we have a 32-year-old stepdaughter living with us. who said to me she would be fine with it, only my wife isn't sold yet. She holds some stigmatism toward nudity, and I'm patiently trying to make her see that nudity should not be frowned upon or made sexual or shameful.
Yeah, well, she's on her way, little by little, and the 32-year-old stepdaughter said, "Hey, this is totally fine." So now we just got one more step. He goes on, "I freed my mind, body, and soul and choose to not believe all that negative hype and cultural stigmas. It's all baggage and lies and just made to control people. I'm hoping my wife will see it for the wonderful thing it is after our first trip to our closest club called Lake of the Woods. I said the name and give you permission to also say it on the show because they are a family-oriented and AANR-approved club. I also would love for this message to be aired on your podcast that members of the club can hear me say this." I think he's going to run for president of the club. What do you think?
I think he's going to be the most popular person at the club, at least.
That's right. Maybe get a free glass of iced tea at the pool.
Exactly.
All right. I hope they are friendly and welcoming to us. My wife really needs huge smiles and open arms from the women there, and I'm sure she'll get those.
Absolutely.
That would make me so happy. We are desperately seeking our own happy place to relax and meet new friends who are genuine. The world around us seems to be on the wrong track, and this is what we need. And if you'll go ahead and finish that last paragraph.
Well, time to go, In crew, and I hope my story is inspiring. Thank you again so much for what you guys do, as it is pure and life-changing for so many of us who decide to free their minds and try naturism.
All right. We appreciate that, Richard. And I wrote back, thanked him for the letter, and did say we'd like to read it on episode 169, which is today. And then he wrote back, and why don't you take the first paragraph? Because I'm going to take that second one if you're okay with that. But first paragraph is yours.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thanks, Frank and Lisa, or Lisa and Frank. And yes, it's okay to air my message because it's all from the heart and true. I'm addicted to your show and have already started over from episode 1. Wow. And I'm making my way back to current episodes. And he gave us another LOL. Frank, you are the real deal and a true professional at what you do.
Holy cow. I think we need to go to Illinois and visit Richard and his wife. What do you think?
I think we should just go to that wonderful club in Indiana and all have a good time. How about that?
Yeah.
And I have to agree with him.
Oh,
you are the real deal and pretty professional.
And again, I swear I didn't write this. This really came in from Richard from Illinois.
I know it did.
But just in case my talking covered up, I'll go ahead and read that again. Frank, you are the real deal and a true professional at what you do. Well, thank you, Richard. And now we get to the second paragraph, Lisa. And I think before I read this paragraph, let's have a little music here. And again, this is from Richard in Illinois. Lisa, I love you. I drive heavy semis for UPS up here in Illinois, and I love hearing your voice twice a week, as it has a calming effect on me when the night just never seems to end. I just imagine myself having coffee with you and Frank in our birthday suit somewhere warm other than here in Illinois. See, if he hadn't tossed my name in there, I could have had a little more fun with this. But let me fade the music out now that I'm done being silly.
Okay. Oh, how sweet. That was very nice.
Yeah. Well, you do have a calming voice, and it relaxes him, and that's great. You tend to calm people down. Richard, she doesn't calm me down when she's in the studio. She jacks me up, and, well, we'll get into that another day. But if you don't mind finishing. What about this, Frank? What about that? That's not as
wait
calming.
A minute.
Not as calming as it could be. Anyway, last paragraph is yours.
Okay. Thank you. Richard, this is a lovely letter. Thank you very much. I'm trying not to laugh at Frank, who's sitting over here making faces at me.
No.
Thank you so much for all that you both do. It really means a lot to me and keeps me smiling and dreaming of a better place to be. God bless.
All right.
God bless
Thank you,
too.
Richard. That's right. And thank you, Mike, earlier on. Thank you to everybody. And Lisa, we have to move on. We have to get to part one of my interview with Linda Weber, the president of the American Association for Nude Recreation. And as long as you promise to stay clothes free, we'll have you back at the end of the show. Is that a deal?
It's a deal, and I can't wait to hear from Linda.
All right. Sounds good. The very terrific Lisa Monroe. She does it all around here, and we appreciate Lisa Monroe very much. Well, as a reminder, we are the official podcast for the American Association for Nude Recreation. Are you a member? If so, that is great. But if not, you can become one right now. Just go to AANR.com, follow the navigation through membership, and just like we are, you can become a fully fledged member of the American Association for Nude Recreation right now. How is that for a deal on a Saturday morning? Well, you are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 169 today. And now let's get to part one of my interview with Linda Weber, the president of the American Association for Nude Recreation, part one with Linda Weber. We are headed out to California this morning to talk to the president of the American Association for Nude Recreation. She's been on many times before she became president, while she's been president. So let's welcome her to the show this morning from the American Association for Nude Recreation, based in California today, Linda Weber. Good morning, Linda. How are you today?
Doing great, Frank.
Good to have you back. And I'm assuming life is exciting and beautiful and wonderful beyond belief with the American Association for Nude Recreation, because after all, we don't have to wear clothes, do we?
Hey, that's the benefit. That's probably the biggest benefit of all.
Absolutely. So just in general, we have a lot of topics we want to hit on today. How is everything going, either for you personally or for AANR? Just in general, what's kind of our outlook as you see it right now?
I would like to say that everything is completely positive, but unfortunately, there are a lot of bills and legislation that are starting to target nudity, starting to target the organization. And that's really disconcerting because there's some of them that are so serious that they could literally cause us to have to be nude in our house, and some of them don't even want you to be nude in your house. So there's a real focus on the government affairs team and what they do. And so I always want to, I'll be talking about that a little bit later about what they actually do and some of the initiatives. But I think, I'd like to say that, things are going well, but we do have some concerns. We do have some concerns for our members and for nudity in general going forward.
Yeah, as you have found out, you probably knew this, from early childhood on. It's not like it's new information to you, but doing the right thing is sometimes hard to do because sometimes people block your way. And in this case, legislation. It's like, what are you folks thinking? So it at least it gives people something to do. You can never say that you get bored and you have nothing to do, right?
Oh, yes, yes. I have very little downtime. I'm not complaining about that. But I want to focus on positive things.
Yeah.
And when things like legislation, it keeps me up at night, quite frankly, because I've been a nudist for so long, and the thought of not being able to, be out in public and go to the clubs and beaches and things like that, that this is just a big part of my life. I mean, this is I never wear clothes. I always say, what do I say, Frank? I'm 25/8 in the house,
Yep, that's right.
and I try to get to as many nude beaches and events and clubs. And so to have that part tamped down in my life, it would be completely different. It would be a completely different life for me.
I seem to recall, I think it was the very first time we spoke for an interview, which was back in 2023. You said you became clothes free around age 14. You decided, that's it. I'm getting home from school and the clothes are disappearing. Do I recall that correctly?
I always say I was in my teens, yeah, like
Yeah.
13. And like I said, I just felt so uncomfortable in clothes. And I could see that it was all, I was used as a judgment tool. You're in high school, junior high. Everybody wants to either conform or be different. And I just didn't like how clothes seemed to make the man, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so I would come home and I would just shuck those babies off. And I didn't know that there was actually a word for it. I just thought I just didn't like clothes. And I felt so comfortable, I rarely would want to even put them on. I mean, we live in a textile word, and I don't use that word as a negative. It's a descriptor to me. We live in a textile world. I have to be a textile, at times, but the majority of my time, if I am not out and about, I am happily nude.
Yeah, well, it's good that you said that because I was the same way. You know, as a kid, I was always clothes free. I never heard the term nudist or naturist or clothes free living for all the right reasons. I just knew that I enjoyed it, and I basically did the same thing you did. Get home, clothes come off, they stay off until I had to go out again for whatever reason, shovel snow or go to school or whatever we had to do. So, you've been living the life a long time. You're not a newbie, as they say, right?
Correct. So it's a part of me.
Yeah.
So the thought of having to have clothes on, and there's sometimes when it's cold or I have to be outside, and I'm thinking, oh, I can't wait till I can get home and just take these off. And I don't even mind being chilly. It's just because I can feel the environment on my skin. It keeps me alive, and so it's a big part of my life, and it's a big part of my husband's. It's the ethos that we live by. So to have that basically taken away would be quite devastating to me.
Oh, yeah. And on behalf of the state of Florida, I feel like I'm compelled to issue an apology to you. You brought the AANR Midwinter Convention to Florida thinking, okay, nude beach, sun, hot weather, sand. And it didn't really turn out that way weather-wise, did
I wasn't sure that I was in Florida or I was in
it?
like New York or something because when we got there, it was 20 degrees. It was at night and it was raining and it was cold. And then in the next morning, it was like almost 40 degrees.
Oh,
And so, seeing people running around at a nudist resort with clothes on, I kept telling people, I just don't feel right. I don't feel right. I feel like I'm, being disingenuous. But in the room, it was a little bit warmer, so I, took my jacket off. But I mean, there's a difference between being, feeling the elements and really like you're gonna freeze to death if you just keep walking around like this. So
well, that is true. I was able
yeah.
to tune in both days, all day long, the Friday and the Saturday on Zoom. So, I could see the video and hear what was going on. And I was struck at first, you were the only one closed free, and everybody else, I don't know, maybe 15 people we could see on screen roughly. Everybody had clothes on. And that's when I realized, oh, duh, it's going to be colder where you are because you're a little bit north of where we are. So sorry about the weather, but at least you made it through, and good times and warm times are ahead, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Now, before we get into the specifics of what we want to talk about today, you had sent me an email. We've talked back and forth. I guess a handful of people went back to episode 92, which was today's 169. So that's 77 episodes ago, almost a year ago, is in March of 25. And they heard or thought they heard something that was offensive to them. And you know, as well as everybody else who's listened to us now for 169 episodes, we don't offend. We don't use bad language. We don't take shots at people. We don't do that. So if anybody was offended, we apologize for the fact that you were offended, but there was absolutely no intent to offend anybody because that's just not what we do around here. You'll hear that everywhere else in life, it seems like, but not here. We try to keep it positive and informational and just driving the nudism, naturism, and our bandwagon straight ahead. How about that?
Sounds great, Frank.
All right. So, getting back to what we want to talk about today, and I mentioned just a few moments ago, you recently had the Midwinter Conference held in Florida, a little bit north of where we are here. I think 2.5, 3 hours or so, depending on the day, and traffic probably a little more on some days. And that was just watching over Zoom. That looked like a very grueling event. You put a lot of time and energy into that, as did a lot of other people, right?
Yes, the we only have 2 meetings now, and they're 2 in-person meetings, and so I've been trying to encourage our members to at least, if they can't, travel to where we are at one of the clubs, to at least, join us on Zoom, because I think it's so important for our members to understand where we get the decisions that we make. Where do we, make these ideas, and a lot of them come from the committees, We have some very hardworking committees. They do a lot of work. And so then it usually goes into a motion, and we have 7 trustees, and they are the ones that actually make all the decisions. So we have the executive board. So there's myself, Patty Faber, who is the vice president, and Mitch London, who is a secretary, and Eric Shutoff. We do not have a vote, and I think it came as a surprise to a lot of people that the president has no vote, except if it is a tie, then I weigh in. And so basically the work is done by the committees and myself and the other folks, and then it goes to a vote. And I want people to understand that the trustees actually have that vote to yay or nay on what actually goes forward.
And that's fairly typical of most organizations. When I worked for them, and I was on boards too, so I've been on both sides of the table, so to speak. Is the lead person in this case? I guess it's you, and sometimes, honestly, Linda, I'm not sure because you have an executive director and a president. It's like mayors who have cities who have a mayor and director of the city or something. Like who does what? Who's responsible for what? And sometimes people don't know the answer, but whoever is running the ship day to day or at that moment, it's really the board, or in this case, we call them trustees. They are the top of the line, and they can say yes to this or no to that, and that's pretty much it. And so when I worked with boards, always 7 people, and I think you have 7 trustees too, right? And they said, people would always coach me, mentors, attorneys, whatever. You got to get 4 votes before you take it to a vote. It's like, well, okay, or we can just take it to a vote and let's see how it shakes out and move from there. But yeah, a lot of people thought or think when the president goes in, he or she can just I want this, I want that, and boom, here we go. That's not even close to the case, is it? And nor should it be.
What it is I prepare all of the meetings, all the motions. I sit on every committee, and that's kind of unprecedented where the president is actually that involved. So, because I want to know what's going on, and also it helps the committees because they can ask me directly, okay, is this going to fly? Or, when we make this motion, how can we word this? So, it's kind of rough because I'm charged with basically doing everything like that's outward facing. I answer my own mail. I answer quite a bit of stuff online for social media, but the decisions are made by the trustees. But I must say, the when you look at our organization chart, our members are at the top. Our members are what guide us. And that's why I always say if you are a member and you don't like something or you don't agree, you need to let us know. And you need to tell your regional president, you need to tell your trustee because they are supposed to be voting on your behalf. And so it's kind of a democratic process. If, they are supposed to be voting on what their constituents want. And sometimes I think that doesn't quite happen. But I always tell people if you vote your conscience, you'll never get in any kind of trouble.
Yeah. I heard one trustee say, and I don't remember which one. I apologize for that because I'd like to be able to give credit to where credit is due. He or she said, I am here to vote and I'm paraphrasing, I'm here to vote for the constituents of my region. People in my region have weighed in this way. So that's the way I'm voting. Wouldn't it be great if our U.S. Congress worked that way?
Well, in a perfect world, yes, it's set up that if you have the right people and the right
Yeah.
structure, and that doesn't always happen. So, and we're human, so there's going to be some failings.
Yeah, yeah. Well done, though. I want to get into a few initiatives that you have going on. And the first one has come from the marketing team. And by the way, everybody should know Linda Weber sits with the marketing team. I think you said you're pretty much involved in every committee. And I had a mentor once. He was the top dog, and I wanted to be a top dog someday, but I wasn't ready yet. And I noticed he went to every blasted committee meeting. I sometimes being at work at 6 or 7 in the morning, not leaving till 10 at night, every night. And I finally asked him, I said, do you go to every meeting? He goes, you're darn right I do. He goes, otherwise, decisions will be made without me weighing in and at least knowing what the heck is going on. He said, if you become the top dog, he goes, which you will, you'd better do the same thing. So I did the same thing. And good to know you're doing the same thing. But this initiative out of the marketing committee, the ambassador program, and we'll talk to Jenny Agee about that down the road. What's the ambassador program? It sounds pretty exciting.
I'm very excited about that. This is something that I had thought about when I was a director in the AANR West region. And what we have people that are so passionate, like myself. And when you tell people your story or you tell them about the positive effects of being a nudist, then sometimes people can realize that they can do that too, but they need to hear the stories. Sometimes people can read things and make up their own mind, but I think it's really powerful when you hear somebody talk about it, and especially when they speak with passion. And we can always use more people to, like boots on the ground, that will actually go out there to events and clubs to talk about their experience or kind of answer questions. And we even have questions from members that don't quite understand, what their membership entails. And so we created this ambassador program, and these are just extra people within the regions that can go out and do the events. We had criteria that they had to be on for a number of years, so they would have the knowledge of what AANR stands for and be able to answer questions, but also to be a resource to the regions for events and going to beaches or going to clubs and different things, to be able to be a resource to say, hey, what how can I help the club? Maybe they need some help. How can I help in this event? Answer questions, run a table, things like that. So it's passionate people that are excited about being nudists and being part of AANR, and we hope that this will help out our membership.
Now, we've been advertising that on the show many times. In many shows, we've talked about it because you can still sign up. And there's a gigantic perk involved here. Most everything at Anner, other than the office in Kissimmee, is volunteer. Whether it's hundreds or thousands, you sign up, you're going to be volunteering, which is great. But there is a perk if you become an ambassador, isn't there?
Yes, and that is what's exciting about it, is the fact that once you have served a year of service and completed all the requirements, that you will get a free membership.
Yeah.
So for that year. So that is really exciting because we are all volunteers and none of us are paid except for a select few positions within the regions. But this is really exciting because we wanted to offer them something to recognize that that's going to be a lot of work. We're asking them to do a lot of work. And so the people that are stepping up are willing to do this. And then we're giving them a little reward.
Yeah. And to be clear, you serve a full year of volunteering, but then the free membership comes your second year. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I talked to one of your region presidents recently, his interview will be coming up on the show, and I pointed out so everybody knows that every time an Anna person comes on, I try to get the word out. Hey, this person's busting their tail for free, because they're so passionate about Anna and nudism. And so I pointed that out, and he said, no, because actually my salary has doubled because it's gone from zero to zero. Well, that's great. And then I told him, actually, you're worth 10 times the amount. So write that into your next contract. But obviously being funny and silly, but it, that's really how you get the passion to people. And I joked later, I said something about $200,000 a year for a region president as a joke. And he said, well, if that were the case, because I probably wouldn't have the job because you'd have tons of people applying. Well, he's right, because their payoff would be the salary. So when it's volunteer, the payoff is knowing that you did some good work for, I guess, humanity in Anna, right?
I've been asked if I do get a salary,
Sure.
and I said no. And even if I did, if it was somehow in our bylaws, I would not take it because I want the members to realize that the passion that I have comes from what I would like to see, nudism and naturism, how I want to see the organization progress and how I want to see it progress. And, there's value in having paid positions, but for me, it's a passion. And I want that to come through, that I'm doing it for the good of the organization and not because, I'm sitting there getting a paycheck.
Right. Yeah, it does make a big difference because if somebody gets ticked off, they'll say, well, she's just doing it for the money. And you can say, hello, I'm not making anything. In fact, it's costing me money to do this job. So keep up the great work there. And I want to talk in a moment about this dual direct option for a discount. But before we do, the auto pay for renewals. I've always been big on this. I love it. I have it in many accounts that I use, like, for football and baseball online. I don't have to worry about a thing. They just automatically renew me. Now, the thing I'd have to worry about is if I don't want to watch any more football or baseball, I'd have to consciously bow out. By the way, that neither one of those will happen. But is this auto pay renewal for members of AANR in place now? Is it coming soon? What's the status on that?
It is in place right now. So anybody that is a direct member, we do not have that for the clubs because the clubs are responsible for their own members,
Okay.
and so it's for. That's why we call it dual direct.
Mm-hmm.
And what this is a if you have two people in that share the same address. So it could be a spouse, it could be a partner, it could be brother and sister, father and child, that if they would like to avail themselves of this, they get a $15 discount. And we had a previous program that was the couples discount, and people really missed that. And I said, I one of the things in my campaign is I will look into that. And so we were actually able to expand it so that it encompassed more people, which is very exciting because everybody wants to save money. I mean, even if it's a small amount, they feel like they're getting a deal, and that's what I wanted to give to the members, and see if they that might be the tipping point. Okay, I'm saving a few bucks, I'm going to go ahead and join. So that's kind of where that came out of.
Okay, the auto renewal though, as long as they have a card on file, they don't have to worry about renewing membership. It happens automatically.
Oh, okay. I think I got kind of
That's
confused
okay.
about a couple of things. The auto renewal. Let me go back.
All right,
I get so excited about everything,
there you go.
AANR. I will just
Yep,
yes.
I believe it.
Um, let's go back to the auto renewal. Okay. For the auto renewal, that is where if you've signed up, it started last June. So by this June, just about everybody will be on it. And it is an auto pay feature, and it's already turned on unless you don't want that. And the reason I wanted to install that is the fact that a lot of people say, I didn't even realize that I was expiring and things like that. And we have so many payments and so much that we have to worry about. You don't want to go to a club and find out that you are expired. And so this was a way to help people out. And so, like I said, I believe June, everybody will already be opted in. And so then what you will do is you will get a notice that you're ready to be renewed and that it will be automatic. So you'll get a notice about it. And you can opt out of it. But I'm opted in because I don't want to be in that position and find out that I've, expired because I just wasn't, I didn't have the time, or I missed the email. So it's a way to help our members because there's so much going on. And a lot of the payments out there basically have been auto pay. So it just helps everybody else.
I'm not sure if you know the answer to this because you're not physically in the office every day, and accounting it's not your job. You're the president, for heaven's sakes. But would you say more than half of the people pay by credit card, or maybe or not necessarily? Do you know the answer?
I don't. I actually
Okay.
don't, but I would believe that would probably be a large amount of people that do that because that
Yeah.
seems to be the safest way
Yeah.
to and the fastest way, to get
Yeah.
things processed.
Yeah, I thought so.
So
A credit card or debit card. People always correct me on that. I don't have any credit cards, but I use my debit card. Okay, that's fine. But at least there's a number on file. And you and the trustees and Eric talked about the confidentiality of information, and people with their card number on file with AANR can be reasonably assured, hey, this is not being sold to anybody or given to anybody else, right?
absolutely. That's one of the things that we are so adamant about, and that's protecting our the proprietary information that we have, especially for our members. We want to make sure that they feel a comfort level. So we try to eliminate the various touch points. Now, the office, they gladly signed the confidentiality agreement, but they're also bound as paid employees.
Mm-hmm.
And we have some wonderful folks in the office that work tirelessly for the entire organization. They have to process everything for 7 regions, and they are very passionate about it. And they jealously guard information. And that's one of the things about the confidentiality agreement that I wanted to get into place for our volunteers to ensure that so the members had a comfort level that, and I had this happen where somebody came to me and said, well, oh, how many members are going to see my information? And I was actually on the one of the cruises and I was signing people up and I said, I will take these and I will have it will be in a sealed envelope and someone will bring it to the office. I'm not going to mail it. I'm not going to do anything. And so it's in there and no one else is going to be looking at this. And that was rather unusual because we were on a ship and I didn't have the ability to actually key them in. And so if we have people that there's papers, it's always sealed up and given to the office. So we try to keep, like I said, the touch points to the minimum of anybody seeing any information.
Yeah, that's very good. You pointed that out because confidentiality is the king with people. They want to know their information is private. I worked some years ago. I hired this lady to be a secretary, and she did very well. She had previously worked in a bank, and they gave her glowing reports. Great customer service and very professional. Great. So I brought her in and did a great job for me and for the organization as well. Well, we were talking one day about the bank because one of our board members happened to work at that same bank, and so they knew each other. We're just in a conversation, informal conversation, and we got to the confidentiality piece, and she told me something I did not know. And I know we have some bankers listening, so they'll be able to confirm this. She said, when I worked at the bank, if let's just make up a name, Bob Smith. I hope I didn't call anybody out. It's just a fake name I just made up. If Bob Smith walks into the bank and somebody later the next day or whatever says, "Hey, have you seen Bob Smith recently?" I am by law not allowed to say, "Yeah, I saw him at the bank yesterday." She said, "You talk about confidentiality. If we open our mouth about anything that happened at the bank, including seeing Bob Smith, we'd probably get fired on the spot." So it's a very big deal, isn't it?
It is. And
Yeah.
in the medical field, you had HIPAA, where before people, if, a doctor's office was calling and the person wasn't there, they would leave a message. Well, now you don't see that because they can't control that. And if somebody else picks that up and they didn't, weren't aware of something. And so you have this in, various organizations and, the medical field. So people are understanding. And for me, a confidentiality agreement, that just cements it more that I'm ready to sign because there's one thing about me saying, "Oh, yeah, I'm president. You don't have to worry about me. I'm good."
Right.
That would not fly, not even to me. So I was the first one to sign that because I
Yeah.
want to give people comfort levels because
Oh, yeah.
I do have access to a lot of information.
Sure. Yeah.
And I want the members to know that that never is going anywhere.
Yeah.
And we have some people that are not they don't have the ability to be free to be out like I am. I've made it my life to campaign about this, so I'm very visible. You see me on social media. I do these things, so my name is pretty recognized. But there's some people in some fields that can't be,
Right.
and the last thing you want is something to happen where they were exposed, so to speak, and that would be quite devastating for firemen, policemen, first responders, where they have morality clauses that could possibly be used to get rid of these people.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so we want to give them that comfort level that we do have a lot of volunteers, but we're mitigating what who is actually accessing what.
Okay, so it goes beyond then the credit card on file. It goes into the name, the address, the phone number. All that's kept confidential, right?
Yes, it
Oh,
is not
okay.
sold. It is not traded. It is not, it goes nowhere. And in this day and age where breaches seem to be a daily occurrence, where information is sold and you start getting, things from people that I've never met you or done anything. And now all of a sudden I'm getting these, solicitations and stuff like that. And it can be quite disconcerting. And if you've ever misspelled your name wrong, you can tell where that came from
Oh,
because
yeah.
I've had that happen. I went, okay, I can trace where this went. And so we don't want the addresses and anything to be a commodity to be sold and traded, online for money. We will never do that. And that's one of the biggest things that is a big, initiative that we have with the organization.
Yeah, well, that's great. And it's great that people know that. You can feel fully confident when you join AANR, they will take very good care of you. We've been talking to Linda Weber, the current president of the American Association for Nude Recreation. And Linda Weber, I could be wrong, but something is telling me you might just have a special announcement to make.
I do. And I'm very excited to say that I am running for reelection for AANR president. And I hope that the members have thought that I've done a good job. If they do, they will reelect me. And there's a lot more that I would love to continue because 2 years hasn't been enough. And I do know that there is one more person that has actually stood up for it. And what this does is it allows the members to make a choice. And I'm excited about that because when they feel like they have a choice, then they feel like they're getting the right person in instead of just one person. And I welcome that. But I'm very excited, and I love the members. I love AANR, and I hope will honor me with allowing me to be their president for another 2 years.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations to you for announcing, and congratulations to everybody for the fact that she announced. You could have easily said, "Hey, I'm working 25/8. I've had enough." But you're saying, "Bring it on. Let's go 26/9." Maybe that'll be your new motto at some point.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we've heard from Anner. Anner has said, and we followed the news over the years. Membership going down, 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 down. Suddenly, you appear on the scene, Linda Weber, and we're up over 2,400. That alone is really good news to get you reelected. So, congratulations for throwing your hat in the ring. And if you wouldn't have done that, we would have thrown it in for you just to be sure you're on the ballot. And if anybody
Mm.
else wants to run for any office, there is a deadline for that, right? What is that? Is sometime in March?
March 15th, there's an official nomination form that you do have to fill out, and you have to get 10 members in good standing to endorse you. They fill out the information, and then you turn that in. So do not miss that March 15th deadline. And that starts the process because then you'll be asked to write a statement. It'll be printed in the bulletin. And one quick thing is at one point, we had where spouses could share the same email. With our voting, they need to have separate emails. And I'm going to be talking about this in some articles about making sure that you get onto your AANR profile. Make sure that all your information is correct because the email will go out to that. And sometimes what it does is if it reads that there's two incidences of that email, it will think that it is a duplicate and kick it out. And if people want to vote, I want to make sure that they have that ability. So please check your profile, make sure everything's up to date, and that you do have a unique email address so you can vote.
The very terrific Linda Weber, president of the American Association for Nude Recreation. In our next Saturday show, which will be episode 171, part 2 with Linda Weber. And before we head for the hills until Wednesday's show, let's bring back in our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Welcome back, Lisa.
It's great to be back as always. And I must say, I thoroughly enjoyed listening to Linda. She's just has Anna in her heart, and I think it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. How about that announcement? She's running for her second term.
Yes, it is a great announcement. And, I think that she's done a tremendous job for Anna, and so we wish her well in that endeavor.
Yeah. Being the president of an organization like AANR, it's more political, more being the face of it, not the day-to-day nitty-gritty stuff that people do at the office, but it's just, hey, I'm here, I represent AANR, and that USA article, they interviewed her. They could have interviewed anybody. They interviewed the president. So doing a great job. You're allowed to have 2 terms if you're voted in. She's going for the second term, so we wish her well. And we'll have part 2 of my interview with Linda Weber on next week's show. And we're ready for that one too, aren't we?
We sure are, and it'll be great to hear more from her.
All right, Lisa, let's head for the hills. 170 is coming up next Wednesday. We're going to have a little fun on that show.
Yes, we are.
And if you promise to stay close free until then, I'll see you Wednesday.
I will be here.
Sounds good.
Close free.
All right. Well, you've been listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 169 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and on most Wednesdays, 12 noon Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.